We've seen some brands like Hercules promoting new DJ controllers with a strong emphasis on wireless capabilities, even though it's really not completely wireless. So have you seen it? It's the Hercules, I can't remember what it's called, but it has no
I'm not
inputs and no
familiar.
outputs.
Okay, the
Okay,
controller has no. So is it Bluetooth or?
it's
Okay,
Bluetooth everything. With that being
okay.
said, as DJs continue seeking more flexible, untethered setups, is Electro Voice exploring wireless audio solutions to meet the growing demand? And how do you envision the future of wireless technology for DJs?
Yeah, great question. And interesting. That is something obviously that we are always looking at, right? Right now, there's three main different technologies available to the world for wireless audio transmission. There may be more, but there's three main ones, out in the world. Bluetooth being one of them.
Okay.
Um, Bluetooth is a pretty good option, and you've seen Bluetooth streaming built into a lot of the products that we make. The ability to not only stream but actually control your speakers, make adjustments to EQ and settings of that nature, all the way up to mixer functionality. The EV app is pretty robust in the stuff that we offer there. So for mixing things like that, it can be a good solution to control. For audio, we consider it kind of a call it a little bit of icing on the cake at this point. It's
Okay.
not really the core of what most of our users do. It's a nice functionality to have. Um, but there are issues with Bluetooth. Obviously, the sound quality is degraded somewhat, right? Because there's a compression algorithm that it has to go through, and things like that in order to transmit and keep up with the stream. But there's also some issues with just connectivity, right? It's can be unreliable. It depends on the distance and location. It depends on even the battery power of the device you're streaming from, and all kinds of different things. So it can be nice to have, but it's definitely hit and miss. So I would use it sparingly for professional applications. For a little bit of background music here and there, maybe not a big deal. Certainly for a ceremony or something a little more mission critical for a DJ, right? You don't want to screw that up, and that's where a cable really is best. So Bluetooth is one option, and I'm not sure if Hercules is using Bluetooth or if it's RF or whatever,
Uh,
but
they're using
Bluetooth is one of
Bluetooth.
the it is Bluetooth. Okay.
Yeah.
So it can work, but there's issues with latency there as well. So I'd be curious to how that would work with a controller, if you're expecting real precision with whatever mixing you're doing or things like that, that could be a little bit difficult to manage. But, there's different, every piece of gear has a different purpose, right? So,
Okay.
if it's for the right application, I would say it might make sense for certain folks. So, but getting back to like the other tech that as far as wireless is concerned, Bluetooth is one option, and because it's so widely popularized and it's in every single device, it makes sense to put those into speakers and have it as a convenience tool. We continue to explore other more reliable options to see if those make sense as well. RF or radio frequencies also is one way to do it. A lot of wireless microphones are based on that tech. Again, there can be issues. Well, there's always issues, right? With any
Yeah.
wireless tech, right? There's interference issues and all kinds of different things. RF might be the most reliable there is, but there can still again be problems. There's interference or intermodulation problems with other RF in the area. And there's different goals there. If you're playing in the VHF or UHF range that a lot of wireless mics operate on, those tend to have a pretty uh, a shorter range, but also more penetration in being able to get through obstructions or walls or things of that nature, humans or bodies or any things that may be in the room that could obstruct that signal. It tends to be able to get through those things better, but is limited in range. On the other hand, You do see RF being used even in the Wi-Fi band, 2.8 or whatever, those higher frequency in the 2.8 gig range and higher 5.2. I don't even know what they are. 5.3 is it 5.4? I don't remember.
5 gigahertz,
But
seven
those,
gigahertz, it's going crazy.
yeah, yeah, more that Wi-Fi range. There, you do get a lot more extended range, but have some trouble with penetration because those wavelengths are so short that they can travel a long distance. But any obstructions, they have a hard time getting through that, around a corner or through a wall or things of that nature. So there's issues with that. And the third option would be infrared, actually using light to transmit audio. You
Okay.
do see that we actually do use that in some of our wireless conferencing systems that we make under the Bosch brand. And those are more suited for transmitting a sorry, those are more suited for transmitting a single signal. It's hard to say, single signel.
Say
Sorry,
that 5 times
got
fast.
that up there. Yeah, my God, I swear I did go to broadcasting school. I couldn't get that one out. But transmitting that to multiple places and using light again can have its advantages as far as quality. But again, you've got some direct line of sight problems. You have to be in whatever the receiver is, has to be in direct line of sight to the transmitter. So, there's all kinds of tech out there. I think, we continue to monitor that sort of stuff and see if there's anything that comes to market that could be more reliable. But right now, Bluetooth seems to be the most commonly used. It's not perfect, but it is good. But I guess my recommendation for most professionals is if it's mission critical, use a cable. It's just that simple. If you have some flexibility with, it's not a big deal if it drops out a little bit, or it's okay if the audio is degraded a little bit, then Bluetooth's a perfectly viable option, but probably the most popular, although it does have, its challenges.
Do you ever see a future where battery powered wireless audio, I mean, technology grows every day, right? So like there
Sure.
might be a next step in wireless audio. Can you envision EV just making a purely wireless setup?
Yeah, I mean, those sort of systems exist right now. We've looked at something that would be, I mean, in theory, the Everse 8 sort of has that, right? They're battery
Oh yeah, yeah.
operated systems, the Everse 8 and the Everse 12. They do have Bluetooth streaming functionality, Bluetooth control. So they're about as wireless as they could get for this current, iteration of tech as to where it is today. You can really take it anywhere and do anything with it. The only thing that could really change would be just be more reliable with the wireless transmission of Bluetooth, or some other audio transmission comes along that makes sense to use. But of course, those things have to be cost effective. They have to be convenient. They have to be all these things. It's not just does it work. It's like, does it work and I can afford it. So
That's actually a really
um,
good point.
there's people that do have used, I've seen in-ear monitoring systems, which is just a wireless microphone system in reverse, really, because you've got a transmitter putting audio in, and then you're transmitting to little belt packs that can be battery operated, hung on the back of your speaker, and then you take the audio output into your powered speaker at that point. There's challenges with that because obviously, again, you're dealing with just RF at that point. It's radio frequencies, which can work, but it's fairly expensive. A good RF, assuming it's a two-channel transmitter, that's going to cost you, at a minimum, I would say it's probably going to be 700-800 bucks,
Yeah.
for something somewhat reliable. So, how often do you really need that? That's the question. It's awfully convenient, but I think eventually it will get there, but we're not there yet.